Meghan Ottolini here with John Lyons as we reach high noon here, as our buddy Adam Jones likes to say. Jones and Keefe are both taking a couple days off here at the end of the week, so we are filling in for you. And Greg Bedard, I don't know where to start with that evaluation of Drake Maye. I'll start at the very last piece because I think that's something that feels a little more like leadership attitude oriented to me than the mechanics and all of the football evaluations of Drake Maye. The way that he reacted after that idiotic fumble turnover that he had in the first preseason game rather, against the Commanders, I didn't really read into. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm a big body language person, and I definitely look at attitude and how people carry themselves and how their teammates respond to them, especially a young quarterback. I don't think Drake is a dink, and I don't think that, like, he carried himself in a way where he's like, that's not a big deal. Vrabel reamed him out after that turnover on the broadcast and on the TV broadcast from WBZ, and then after the game. And so if you want Drake Maye to get out there and Chris Sale himself and be like, I'm horrible, I'm embarrassed of myself, blah, 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 that's your taste. That's what you're looking for from a young quarterback. I would guess that Drake knows that that was stupid and that he has to be better.
And I think the thing to look at is, how did he respond to it? Like, after that turnover against Washington, he responded by leading a touchdown drive. And it wasn't all perfect, but he led a touchdown drive. Even you go to the Minnesota game, he had a high overthrow that was almost intercepted, another high throw, they punt, and he responded to it by leading a touchdown drive against the Vikings. So I think that's the bigger thing to watch. Like, I mean, if you remember, Mac Jones is doing breathing exercises on the sidelines after, drives there. As long as you're avoiding that, like, I think there were times last year where Maye was trying to do too much in a bad situation, and we kind of discussed this yesterday, where, the pick at the end of the Rams game or the end of the Titans game.
He was the only thing that could operate on offense.
He was trying to do way too much. And I think maybe there's still a little bit of that inside him where he wants to do a little bit too much at times. And I think you saw that on the turnover against Washington. Just go down and take the sack. Like, you're all set. Instead, it was like he was either kind of trying to throw it away, maybe he saw something at the last second, but he was trying to do too much. But again, he responded to it by leading a touchdown drive, right? If he had come out and they had gone 3-and-out the next series, or if Minnesota, they had back-to-back 3-and-outs or back-to-back punts to start the game, I would be more concerned than, okay, he made a bad turnover against Washington and then bounced back. You don't want any turnovers, but how do guys respond? Because that was something, and not to bring up bad memories, but that was one of the issues with Mac Jones. He wouldn't just have one turnover. It would snowball into 2 or 3. I mean, they played the Ravens in 2022. He had 3 second-half interceptions.
He was the epitome of letting a bad play or a bad snap turn into a bad series, turn into a bad quarter, turn into a bad half.
Right.
Like, exactly. I don't think Drake's like that.
I agree.
To what you just said. In terms of the evaluation of who he's been in the preseason, in training camp, why do we focus so much on the preseason game performances?
Because it's all people have to watch.
But it's not.
No, but I mean,
Greg Bedard was out in Minnesota.
Right. And there's some things in game speed that can't be replicated, right? Like how situations work out, guys are actually tackling to the ground. But to kind of your point, I think the most valuable thing the Patriots have had so far are the 2 joint practices.
Thank you.
Right, the Washington one. Well, I meant the 2 sets of the Washington ones, and then especially the Minnesota ones. Like, even though the Minnesota practices didn't go that well, I think there's a lot of value there, because I think that Minnesota defense, and I know they just traded Harrison Phillips yesterday, but there's value there because that Minnesota defense is probably the best defense you're going to face all season long, or at least for the first, say, month or so of the season. That's going to be the best defense. So there's value in learning, hey, what are they attacking about us? What are we not good at? And from all reports and all indications, Drake Maye held up really well in those practices. And then you and I were at the Washington ones where he was better than Jaden Daniels in that joint practice. Not that Daniels sucked, but Maye was better. The offense was good. Like, those to me are much more valuable than 2 series against mostly backups in a preseason. Not that the preseason games aren't valuable, but the joint practices, I think, are more so.
Overall, the media has been preaching this for years. and especially the beat writers, the people who are in there watching the team day in, day out, every freaking availability, watching every stupid injury report full of lies come out and having to post it for their outlet. Joint practices are the most indicative of where the team is. It's the closest you're going to see the scheme that they're implementing when they go 11v11 with the other team. You get to see how they match up in 1v1s with the true ones going against each other. If you think that he, quote, borderline stinks in the preseason game, I have to tell you that I don't think it matters that much. I really don't. Like, to me, the biggest question with Drake is, does he get too excited in these games? Is it where he's overthrowing Mac Hollins, who's 6'4", and then totally overthrowing Pop Douglas, who's like 5'8"? And is he too amped up? And is that going back to the experience level? And so there is something to be, I don't know, that you can earn, that you can gain from having him just be in these stadium situations, because he's only started 12 games last season as an NFL quarterback. But the joint practices are the thing, and Drake looks solid in the joint practices. He's looked good, even when the line has broken down around him. Like, he's been good. He's done what he's supposed to do. So maybe you don't like the mechanics. I'm not a quarterback. I'm not a throwing expert. So I'm not going to sit there and break down whether he still has a hitch or the little jump pass that he might throw at times. Like, I'm not going to, you can speak to that better than I can, John, if you think he has an issue with his mechanics. But if we're saying, like, he had a bad turnover in a preseason game and he had a couple accuracy issues to start the second preseason game, that doesn't make it doom and gloom for me. That doesn't make me sit here and go, I'm so worried about it. And also, who he is at the podium after the fact is unacceptable.
And I think some of this still is part of the learning process. Like, his offense at North Carolina, he was making like a couple reads and then the ball was coming out. And then last year, there were 5 guys out, but he was under so much pressure, he wasn't making 3 or 4 reads. Now he's actually doing that, because I know people have pointed to, well, he missed an open receiver for a touchdown in that series against Minnesota in the game, and that's true. What would worry me is if that happens again. Like, if he does that again tonight, or if he does that again against the Raiders.
We don't know if we're going to see him tonight.
Or if he does that.
It might be the Josh Dobbs show.
It might be. But that's, to me, what I would be thinking about. Like, if he misses somebody once and learns from it, fine. Because you can even, like, the turnover he had against Washington, didn't have a turnover like that against Minnesota. That doesn't mean he's never going to turn the ball over again, but you want to see, are these guys progressing? Because that was one of the huge issues last year, Mego, and not just with Drake Maye. I mean, how many guys last year actually got better during the season? And how many guys kept making the same mistake after mistake after mistake, and it never got corrected?
That's a great question. Who did get better?
I think there were
the
3
season?
guys last year, if you want my Maye,
Maye,
Milton, and Mapu. Those are the only guys that I'm like, they're a better
Milton,
player.
Mapu.
And Mapu now's
he's not afterthought.
And he's not even on the field now. But those are the only 3 guys that I'm like, oh, they were noticeably better to me at the end of the year.
What about Antonio Gibson?
I thought he was kind of good. He was just good. Like, I thought he was pretty good at the beginning of the year.
I thought he looked better at the end of the season.
And I think Stevenson looked a little worse, and so maybe my judgment is a little jaded on that. But I mean, guys were making the same mistake. Oh, and it was coaches too last. Like, how many times did they motion Jalen Polk in a block last year and he got blown up or false started? Like, this year and this is where the Vrabel effect comes in, is those mistakes. I don't expect them to keep happening. Like, even the stunt thing that Will Campbell and Jared Wilson struggled with against Washington. I'm not saying that's never going to happen, but you're not going to see that every week like you saw Vidarian Lowe and DeMontre Jacobs last year getting beat around the edge every week, because Alex Van Pelt wouldn't have guys in to help chip block ever.
I just want to sit here and spell out what the actual expectations for Drake are, because all I hear over the last week, we talked about it yesterday, is pump the brakes for Drake Maye. People in New England are too excited about him. He hasn't shown enough. He's really young, which I agree that he's really young and inexperienced. And then Greg Bedard, who's covered this team forever, saying that he has serious concerns about all these different aspects of Drake Maye, from his mechanics to who he is after the game. So tell me what you think he's going to be. Is he, you can tell me, is he going to have improved stats from Mac Jones' 2021 season? Do you think the team gets to the playoffs because of him? Or do you think that he's lower than that and the entire offense spends another year suffering in the bottom quartile of the league?
I would like to see him be a little bit better than Mac Jones' rookie season. 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. I'd like Maye to be in that 3,800, 4,000 yards.
13 interceptions?
Right. So, and again, that was in 17 games. So if Maye throws 13 picks in 17 games, it would actually be kind of an improvement on a per-game basis.
Are you kidding? I would take that in a heartbeat.
So to me, can he be a little bit better than Mac Jones' rookie? Because even for Maye, I know it's technically his second year, but it's really like year 1.5 because he didn't start until week 6 last year. He didn't even he left the Jets game early, left the Bills game early. It's a new staff. He only started 26 games in college. Like, it's only really, to me, year 1.5. And I say that to say this, if he can, again, just be a little bit better than Mac Jones' rookie year. And remember how, and you touched on this yesterday, Mac kind of faded in that rookie year in December.
Oh, yeah.
Was not like...
After the second Buffalo game, the Buffalo win.
He wasn't as good. Can Maye not fade? Can he be good all the way through week 18? Can he play well? And I'm not telling you he's going to have 17 good games, but can he play just as well in week 4 that he plays in week 15, right?
Well,
or better?
So when that happened in real time in 2021, I thought this is the biggest example of the rookie wall, where Mac played up through the championship game with Alabama and then goes right into the combine, the draft, and then immediately gets into OTAs and rookie minicamp with the Patriots. And I thought this kid's just burnt out. And now in hindsight, I think Jones was more correct when he said the rest of the league started to figure him out pretty early on and his limitations. And he was such an unknown coming in. And now it's like, okay, this is the tendencies. This is what he's doing in Josh McDaniel's system. With Drake, I think that's such a huge part of when you hear about how McDaniels wants him to be able to pick apart defenses. It's because he can't get through 17 games just taking off running for first downs.
And I think if you could, if Mac was the 5th quarterback taken, it was almost like he was there, the Patriots needed, and I'm not saying they didn't like him, but whereas Maye, the baseline talent is a lot higher. Like, that's a guy that you mentioned earlier, him and Daniels. Maye conceivably could have gone 2nd overall in that draft. He went 3rd. Like, the baseline talent is higher. That's why, to me, it should be better than what you saw out of Mac Jones in 21. And you could make the case, hey, maybe Mac had a better head coach at the time. Maybe his offensive line was a little better. But I don't know. That 2021 offense, I don't look at that and say, oh, wow, that's a lot better than what the Patriots have now. Like, they had Jacoby Myers. He was probably better than anyone you have right now, depending on Diggs' health. But I don't know. Like, Hunter Henry is very similar to what he was then. Stevenson and Henderson is probably better than Damian Harris and Stevens. So I just think it's very similar what he has to what Mac had. And I think that's why, to me, the baseline should be, can you be a little bit better than Mac Jones? And I think that would translate to 8 or 9 wins.
Don't you think that defense was better?
I think that
the 21 defense was better than this year's. I mean, we don't totally know.
It's tough because last year had so many guys from 23, and yet they got worse. So I think this year's defense could be better because I think Barmore could be really good if he's healthy, and the combination of Gonzalez and Davis could be really, really good. But I don't know, that defense still had Devin McCourty, right? Like, that was still had some guys on it. But that was, remember, like the end of Donta Hightower. He wasn't that good anymore, sorry to say, and some other guys. So I don't know. That to me might be a toss-up. Like, I might even take this year's defense, but I'd have to see it first.
617-779-7937 if you want to call in and discuss Drake Maye, the expectations, all the pump the brake talk, and are you concerned about how he carried himself at the podium after that bad turnover? Once again, I'm not. But this is something, that's one more thing on this, Lyons. This is something that a lot of people have been quietly kind of bringing up over and over. Like, that that Drake didn't talk at the end of the season last year on locker cleanout day, which was,
that he didn't go to Vrabel's introductory press conference, right?
Well,
wasn't there some people that said that?
He was getting engaged.
I know, but it was brought up.
But the locker room cleanout thing, like, as a reporter who was there, that was annoying because he's the team leader and you want to talk to him. But at the same time, like, I could also attribute that to miscommunications. It was a chaotic time for the franchise. The head coach had just gotten fired. Like, I don't hold the rookie quarterback totally accountable for that. Maybe I'm a softie for that reason, but I don't put that entirely on him. I'm just not at the point where I'm gonna crucify the kid for not being sorry enough, not Chris sailing himself enough at the podium.
And it doesn't mean he's not taking it seriously, because like I said, he didn't make the same mistake. He bounced back, led a touchdown drive, and didn't make that mistake again after. Like, there's plenty of guys that kind of shrug their shoulders, but then they make the same mistake again. Like, just because he's not freaking out doesn't mean he's not taking it seriously and not correcting it.
Yeah, I don't have as big a problem with that. Really quickly, I know we're going to do a little Keefe Madness John Lyons edition after this break. There is this little piece of information that came out for the preseason game tonight that we haven't hit on, which is that Javon Baker is traveling with the team, so would indicate that he's probably playing in the game tonight. My biggest takeaway from that, Efton's made the team.
Yeah.
Efton is on the team.
I think their question
Baker
now
is fighting for some kind of special team spot. Efton is on the team. That's what it says to me. Efton's got a minor injury, has been out of practice all week. They don't need to see any more from him. They love the kid.
I think their discussion internally now is, do we keep 7 receivers and could Baker be one of them? It's not Chism or Baker anymore. I mean, I think Chism is squarely on the roster as the 6th guy.
Yeah, so we'll see from Javon Baker. Really weird to try to figure out what's going on with Jalen Polk and Kendrick Bourne, guys who have had injuries from your wide receiver group. TBD with those guys, if they're going to put one of them on IR or if there's going to be a trade that's coming up. I know there are people on social media who are like dying for a trade between San Francisco and Kendrick Bourne because San Francisco has so many receivers who are injured, but Bourne's also mysteriously injured too.
Yeah.
After that in-stadium practice, and we haven't seen him at all. So a lot of weird stuff going on with the wide receiver